Boa noite a todos os homeopatas brasileiros. Bom dia a todos os homeopatas da Ásia, da Índia, Paquistão, da Tailândia, nossos grandes amigos asiáticos. As nossas saudações brasileiras. Estamos aqui no estado de São Paulo, uma cidade muito conhecida pelos doutores Avtar e Manroop, para dar início a um novo módulo, o Lecture 3 das Global Class, um programa que vem levando conhecimento prático, estudo de casos e muita informação para os homeopatas do mundo inteiro. Muito obrigado por você estar conosco aqui, independentemente se você está ao vivo ou se você está assistindo ao nosso programa, a nossa transmissão aqui do estado de São Paulo, na cidade de Monte Alto. Eu estou aqui com os representantes da Right Homeopatia no Brasil, a doutora Mara Rosalino, o doutor José Vitório Rodrigues, que nós estamos dando esse pontapé inicial, esse início desse Global Class terceira temporada, um grande estilo falando de matéria médica, coisa muito importante e vital para a homeopatia no momento da prática. Quero passar agora a palavra à doutora Mara para ela fazer as suas considerações iniciais.
Boa noite a todos. Bom dia, doutor Avtar. Bom dia, doutores da Tailândia. Sejam muito bem-vindos a mais um módulo, o terceiro módulo já desse Global Class, um programa que está fazendo muito sucesso entre os homeopatas e está trazendo muita riqueza de conhecimento para todos nós, Então, a gente vai continuar com esse programa. Muito obrigado a todos que fazem parte, dessa família Right Homeopatia e do nosso Global Class. Esse ano, hoje nós vamos estar estudando os amônios, a parte geral. Depois nós vamos estudar as diferenciações na próxima aula. E assim por diante, nós vamos estudar vários remédios aqui nesse Global Class, então esperamos que todos estejam presentes nas próximas aulas. Muito obrigada a todos e vamos ter desejo uma ótima aula para todos.
Bom dia, boa noite a todos os colegas e amigos homeopatas. É um prazer estarmos reunidos novamente com a família Right Homeopatia, com todos os amigos da Tailândia, do Brasil, dos Estados Unidos, da Europa, da Índia e do Paquistão e de outros lugares desse nosso planeta. Vocês são o coração desse projeto Global Class, do projeto do workshop e do Hope for Hopeless. Sem vocês, esse projeto não existiria. O coração, porque o coração leva a nutrição para todas as partes do nosso corpo. E é através da decisão pelo coração que nós escolhemos as melhores decisões que nós fazemos, porque ela transmite ou ela produz muitas substâncias boas quando nós fazemos essa decisão pelo coração. Então, esse projeto é uma educação continuada de homeopatia, que foi um projeto de Dr. Avtar, e nós começamos a estudar o ervanão, depois nós estudamos no segundo módulo a matéria médica dos ácidos magnésios, dos cálios e dos nátrions. E agora nós vamos estudar os amônios, as calcárias, os carbonos, as aranhas, o grupo das aranhas e das ofídeas. Eu gostaria de agradecer também a doutora Mara, a doutora Gisele, que são diretoras da Right Homeopatia e responsáveis também por esse projeto. Também agradecer aqui o nosso parceiro, colega, o Rogério e sua equipe, o Vitor, o André, que está em São Paulo hoje trabalhando, Então, essas pessoas fazem parte da família da arte homeopatia. Não vamos nos esquecer dos nossos tradutores, a Helena e a Jaqueline também. A família da arte homeopatia está crescendo, porque este ano o Dr. Avtar foi na Tailândia proferir um workshop, um Hope for Hopeless. Eles atenderam mais de 300 pessoas no Hope for Hopeless, que era único no Brasil fora a Índia, né? Então hoje nós temos na Tailândia. Então, parabéns para a doutora John Paul, a doutora Sobis, que levaram o Hope for Hopeless para a Índia, levaram mais uma vez o workshop, participaram mais de 200 homeopatas. Então, essa é a família da arte homeopatia que cresce, né? Cresce no Brasil, cresce na Tailândia, cresce na Índia. Gostaria também de agradecer, né, ao Dr. Avtar, que acorda às 4 horas, 5 horas da manhã, e Dr. Manroop, para proferir essa palestra, né, gratuita, né, para o Global Class e para o Global Class da Índia. Eles têm também esse mesmo projeto na Índia e eles fazem isso, essa educação continuada, sem nenhum custo, né? Eles não pedem nenhum custo. Então, é a favor do ensino, né, sem custo, né, da homeopatia. Gostaria também de agradecer a doutora Hachev, que é a presidente da Arte Homeopatia da Índia, que está presente hoje na nossa inauguração desse terceiro Global Class. E para finalizar, nós temos que agradecer sempre ao nosso mestre, né, Dr. Hahnemann e seus discípulos, porque eles que trouxeram essa verdadeira arte da cura e a possibilidade de hoje nós estarmos aqui iniciando esse terceiro Global Class e levando a homeopatia para todos os continentes do nosso globo. Obrigado a todos, aproveitem muito e vamos dar início.
Ok, só lembrando que as inscrições para integrar as próximas aulas do Global Class vão ser liberadas amanhã. Amanhã nós já enviamos o link para vocês, para que vocês tenham acesso a todas as informações para fazer parte das próximas aulas do Global Class. Tem bônus, nós temos muitas aulas bônus e nós temos 10 aulas constantes deste módulo, que vai até fevereiro de 2024. Agradecemos a vocês do Brasil, da Tailândia, do Paquistão, da Índia, dos Estados Unidos, que estão conosco. Muito obrigado. E vamos então para a nossa aula. É com você, Dr. Avtar. Bom dia.
It has been neglected a lot because of the there is a part which has been proved about the mind, about the physical body in ammoniums, but somewhere the crux of the group, it was lost or it was not well explained in the provings. But when we see clinically the patients who have been cured with ammoniums, okay, then when you see all those patients and you start getting an idea about the ammonium personality. So we will try to discuss that thing in our today's lecture, today's class. This what we will be doing will be a thing commonly what we know about the ammonium group. Then in the next part, in the next class, we will basically discuss that individual ammonium remedies like ammonium carb, ammonium mure, ammonium brome. We will discuss all those remedies. So let's start with the ammoniums. So as we know, ammonia is a gas having this chemical formula NH3. It is the main source of nitrogen for the plant growth and is used in the artificial fertilizers to increase nitrogen binding. It has a characteristic, we all have experienced this in our school laboratories, that ammonia smell, that pungent odor, the odor which basically, kind of affects very badly on the nerves of the nose. So in ammonium patients also, we can remember from this thing that the ammonium patients, they have this pungency which can be seen in their behavior. We'll more study about it as we go forward. But always remember this pungency. Okay, their behavior. It is something which the person who is across them, sitting across them or living with them, they cannot bear it. So in homeopathy, ammonia has been ignored a lot, as I was saying, due to non-understanding of the prescriptive points of the remedy. It was usually given for hamstring pulls or cardiac asthmas. So for accurate use of ammoniums, we have to first understand the genetic traits of this remedy. So we'll start with the sensitivity of the ammoniums. The first thing is that they are very sensitive to others' behavior towards them. Right from the beginning, right from the childhood, ammoniums have developed this great oversensitivity of how the people around them behave towards them. Like when they are being scolded, when they are being reprimanded, generally they are very timid and quiet people. One thing we'll discuss is it also in the further coming slides, is that this timid and quiet nature, generally we think about them, when we see them we think about them that, you know, there is some dullness of intellect. That is why this person is very quiet, timid, not answering properly, not giving the reply to the questions. So the first impression which we have is that the understanding might not be proper. But slowly and steadily, when you come to know about them in the case taking or in the further visits, you find out that the understanding is quite good, but they are generally quiet and serious people. They have this withdrawing nature, okay, like calcareas. Even the netrums have the same sensitivities for being humiliated, for being scolded, for being reprimanded, the same sensitivities. But we will see in the reactions that the reactions they change in ammoniums and in the netrums and calcareas. Okay, so they're very sensitive to angers, humiliations, mortification, or when their ambition is lost. Although ammoniums are not too ambitious people, not too ambitious, but small things which they tend to do, if they are not able to do those things affect them very much. For example, person of ammonium personality, if he's trying to do some very small business, he's starting with a very small simple business, but even with that small simple business he's not doing good in it. Even a regular thing he's not doing good in it. They get affected by this a lot. And especially if someone from family, from their circle, from their this extended family, if they point this thing out to them. I'll give you an example. I have a patient who got very better with ammonium carb. He had this varicosity of the legs, and it was very severe that his feet were becoming black. It was going towards that, gangrenous tendency. They were becoming very black, and he got around 80% cured. I will show a video in the next when we will discuss ammonium carb. He got 80% better after ammonium carb. So in this particular person, he started a business of uh, selling milk. Okay, so in India we have these businesses, dairies, where a person opens a small shop. He takes milk from some source and they sell it to the public. So he started with this small simple business of selling milk. But because of his timid nature, because of his quiet nature, he was not able to make much customers, because selling milk is a very common thing. There are many big companies also who sell packed milk, and then selling milk which is unpacked, or taking from some source and giving it. So this kind of thing was not getting good. It was not going good. So his wife, he kept on pointing out that thing, that you can't do even a simple job. This is a very simple thing, selling milk. Even if you sell milk to 50 houses in the neighborhood, that is more than enough. But you are not even able to do that thing. And he would become very, angry at that thing. It will be, he felt it kind of very humiliating. And slowly, he started having these troubles, as I mentioned you about this. He also had this gastric trouble, constipation, and this. But it was always from the family. I will also tell more points in the next part when we will do the ammonium carb. So even they don't have big ambitions like Nux vomica or like Lycopodium or like Aurum metallicum. They don't have much bigger ambitions. Okay, but the small things which they tend to do, and they kind of fail in that have a huge impact on ammoniums. As a human beings, we have come into this world, and when we grow up after a certain age, we are expected to do something in our life. We all are expected to do something in our life, and we keep on doing those things. Some have big dreams, they tend to do big things. Some have not those big dreams, but they are the essential part of the society. They are the essential part of the machinery. They are playing their part. But when someone is told in a way which humiliates the person, which humiliates the work he has been doing, even the extended family, especially from the wife's family, when they would come, they would ask about how it is going, and why are you doing so, kind of cheap job or cheap business, or kind of these things. When a person is told, so it humiliated, that feeling of mortification comes inside. But the main thing is the reactions of the ammoniums are that they are irritable and angry inside, but this anger is not expressed and remains inside as a thought of insult. Again, because of the timidity, they are not able to express it. Calcareas in the family, they express their angers, they express their displeasures, they express whatever they feel, especially in the family. They will not be timid and quiet. But the timidity in ammonium is so much that even in the family, they don't have that courage to express what is inside them. Natrums also don't express much, but that is because they don't generally want a quarrel, don't want a fight. They generally don't want to be, on the bad side of the things. So they avoid it. They avoid it to keep the family close, to keep it together. But in ammonium, it is the timidity is so much that they choose not to express it. They don't get that courage. So, but this display here, this insult, it keeps evoking the hatred inside. Okay. The first thing which you will notice in this ammonium personalities, they cannot forget. They cannot forget. Many times I have the patients, they have told that those words, the tone of the person, what they have said, each single word they can remember. It is, and they can remember as if the person is talking to them right now. So they remember even the tone, even the smallest of the gesture which that person has done at that particular time. Okay. So we have this rubric: dwells on past disagreeable occurrences, thinking of everything which others have done to displease. Now, the mind is a very strange place. We have discussed it in earlier sessions also, that mind has the power to create. It has the energy to create something, energy to create good ideas, energy to create something in the form of matter, in the form of emotions, in the form of feelings. It has that power in it. But when the whole energy of the brain is used for remembering what others have done to you, what others have, kind of, for the whole life, for the past 50 years, 40 years, you have been accumulating all those events, all those words, all those things which others have done to displease you, which have others have done to humiliate you, to mortify you. So the whole positive part, it starts going out. The whole creative part of the brain, of the mind, it starts going out. It cannot focus on those things which it was bound or which it was meant to basically create. And these thoughts, they start becoming tormenting, thoughts tormenting about past disagreeable events. Patients, they generally say that I cannot get those thoughts out of my mind. I think there are some chats coming. Please keep on this. Thoughts tormenting about past disagreeable events. So the thoughts, first, it is more of a, when it starts, it is more of a voluntary thing which a person starts, this dwelling part. Then it becomes an involuntary thing. It becomes a kind of obsession, or it becomes a kind of automatic thing that these thoughts will start coming on its own. And they start tormenting the patient. They start developing hate in them. They start developing, having this ideas of revenge. But most of the time they just remain the ideas. They don't have that courage to put it into the practical aspect. But yes, they have these ideas of hatred and revenge. We have talked about hatred, I think, earlier also. We will talk about it again. Hatred is not a very simple or very, very minute emotion. It should never be taken when person, many times patient come, they use the words like I kind of hate my mother, I kind of hate my father. They use these words because these are the words which are present in their vocabulary. But that usually generally does not mean that we have to take this rubric. We have to see the intensity. What is the intensity of that thing? Hatred is a very intensified emotion. Very intensified. Hatred is when someone, like, I just don't want to even hear that person's name. Even if there is some other person with the same name, I will have an idea that this person is not going to be a good person. If I am having a hatred towards a person, suppose named A, and there is another person, suppose named A, I will say, okay, all the people who have this name A, they are bad people. They are good for nothing. Okay. So you will see that intensity, that whenever some thought about that person comes, when someone talks about that person, this person who is having hatred towards that person A, he will start getting angry and irritable at that, and he will kind of, either move from that space, move from that place, or he will try to tell them to stop talking about that person. Don't talk about that person in front of me. That is the intensity. But if I say like, okay, I hate someone, and then the next day I'm going and meeting him and talking to him, that is not hatred. That is a very momentary thing. Okay, where I have used the word hate because I didn't had a better word in my vocabulary. But when it comes to the analysis part in our homeopathy, in our repertoire, hatred has must be taken when it is of very high intensity, like I have told you. So in his reactions, he develops a pungent behavior towards others. Okay, they start abusing. The first defense is that they will be quiet and silent. But when the things keep on getting more and more and more and more, okay, then a point comes where they start expressing it. Although the expressions will not be much in number, but whenever they express, they will show this irritable mood. They will be abusing children, insulting parents. Many times I have seen the parents when they have 2 or 3 children in the house, or even one child. The parents, they have this habit of comparing the child with other children. Comparison. It is a very damaging thing for the child when we are comparing them with their siblings, comparing them with other children from neighborhood, from the relatives, comparing them with the children in the school, telling them that look at that child, he's doing so well, why can't you do it? His drawing is so good, why can't you draw? He performs so well, he's getting good grades, why can't you? You are an intelligent child, why can't you do it? So this comparison is a very hurting thing for the child. Why it is hurting? Because, for example, we have a seed, a plant seed. If there is a seed in front of us, from the seed, just by looking at the seed, it is very difficult to tell what plant it will become. The children, they are like seeds. What plant they are going to become, we don't know. For example, if it is an apple seed and we are comparing him to a mango, to a peach, that look at that thing. Why can't you be like this? How can an apple or a lotus seed become like a mango or a peach tree or a plant? But by saying this, that intrinsic quality of that seed, of that apple or lotus seed, it starts getting lost. What he was supposed to be, the child, they start feeling lost. They start feeling that what I am going to become will not be sufficient. I have to be something else. This is a huge thing on their basic identity, on their intrinsic identities, on their intrinsic skills, on their intrinsic abilities, which they already have. So by comparing, we are kind of in a very small dose, in a very small amount, we are trying to humiliate the child, we are trying to mortify the child. And if some parents, in some parents, it becomes a habit to keep doing this. I have a child who comes to me. The mother of that child, when she comes to me, the child is having this vitiligo on the face and the body. So whenever the mother comes to me, she will always have this. He is not good in studies. His sister is so good. He does not want to study. His sister is the one who keeps doing her homework. He has to be scolded for doing that thing. He's always doing some mischief. his sister is so mild and gentle. So this thing which keeps on going and it becomes a habit of the parents, they also start having very bad effect on the children. And especially when the children are timid, like in ammoniums. The child is already timid. He's already a fearful child. And if the parents keep on, doing this, insulting him by comparing him, then a time comes when the child has had enough and the insult is reciprocated. The children, they start insulting their parents. They become quarrelsome, scolding, desire to curse. They become unmanageable, defiant, lament a lot in their speech. They will be always complaining about something. And then this becomes their habit. As they keep growing up, the lamenting, the defiance, a repulsive mood, a mood of a person which repels everyone. It is like a repellent. They have such moods. Their expressions become like somebody has smelled ammonia. And you will see this thing in that this part, it becomes like this. It is a observation which you can have in the patients of ammoniums, that this part becomes like this. They will slightly remain like this, having this frowning in this area, the nose slightly this upwards. So they develop this repulsive mood. They will have a repulsive face. If that face comes to you in a market, in a social gathering, you will try to avoid that person because a vibe comes from that person that he is basically an irritable person or a not very friendly person. So you will try to avoid him. Many times in family gatherings or social gatherings, ammoniums, first of all, they don't like much social functions. But if they are there, they will try to avoid everyone. They don't like talking to anyone. So if someone comes and starts talking with them, okay, they will be like, very have a very dry and rude behavior towards them, that they will not answer back, or they will answer with like a hmm, okay, like this very short answer, or just with a tone, with the voice, with the sound, they will answer them, so that they don't get involved much in the communication. Okay, so after the reactions of the ammoniums, we go to the physical reactions of the person. Shortening. So as we know that every illness or symptom in the body is a result of its defense mechanism. We have done this when we have discussed Sora and the miasms. In homeopathy, we call this defense gears as miasms. Soric defense of irritation, inflammation, pain start with a primary injury. For example, you have a shoe which you have been wearing, and it is a tight shoe. It is tight around the edges. So if you keep on wearing it, you will start getting inflammation in the back or at the toe. So it will be painful, it will be inflamed, it will be red in color. But if you keep on wearing that shoe, that part will stop paining, the inflammation will subside, but a secondary thing will come, that that area will start becoming thick. The more cells will come at that place, there will be proliferation, there will be accumulation of more cells, so that the injury which is going on, the effect of that injury can be minimized. And if you still keep on wearing it, still you don't change the shoe, then that part will start ulcerating. That is the third defense of syphilis. That part will become ulcerated. There will be some oozing out of that ulceration or some blood which will be coming out, telling us again and again that we need to change the shoe. So when this injury is not taken care, the body switches on the second defense or the third defense as is genetically prone. So second defense comprises of defense by accumulation, accumulating cells at some place, by proliferation, the cells they start multiplying, defense by altering the synthesis of structural proteins, for example, elastin or fibrin. So even if the second defense is not sufficient, then the third defense of destruction or degeneration, like I told you, that even if we keep on wearing, that injury keeps on going, then the ulceration, the degeneration, the destruction, it will start. So in ammoniums, after being sensitized or trauma, after the trauma, this mental trauma, which is going on and on and on, the second defense is switched on, wherein elastin synthesis is maximized or increased. The excess elastin in various parts prevents muscles, tendons, and the sphincters, etc., from being stretched. The constipation of ammonium carb. There is a feeling that the stool is there, but the anus is not opening. The anus is too tight for the stool to pass out. Because of this tightening, the tightening of the sphincters. In carbo-veg or in calcarea carb, it is the slowness of the system. Although that slowness is also there in ammonium carb. But the major reason or the major feeling of the patient, like in calcarea carb, it is like the intestines are not moving at all. They are not moving. In ammonium, they can feel that movement slowly going on. They can feel that pain in the stomach, that accumulation of the gas in the stomach, the accumulation of flatus in the stomach, because they feel that the anus is not opening up to pass it out. So this shows that these sphincters have become tight because of that excess elastin. They don't want to be stretched, ammoniums. Mentally also, they don't like to be stretched. Stretched in the sense, they don't like to do what others keep on telling them to do. They don't want to be handled by other people. And it keeps the muscle and tendons in a rather short sensation. So this short sensation is also there in mind, that we will discuss about it. I have taken an example of a game. It is called cricket. It is very famous in India, like the football in the rest of the world or in Brazil. So it is a very famous game in cricket, and we see, and it is not in cricket only. In many, even in football, we see that hamstring pulls are very often. Many athletes, many people in the game, it is a very common injury, the hamstring pulls, and it is also the common injury in cricket. Why? Because when a player, when an athlete is playing at a very good speed, is playing with aggression, is playing with a focus to win that thing, but he's not able to success. He keeps on failing again and again and again and again. He's not able to do it, whatever he's trying to do. So that thing basically produces a considerable anger and an inexpressiveness, not having the will or not having that courage to express that anger because of his own shortening, or because he's not able himself to do that thing well. It gives rise to the hamstring pulls. And most of the time you will see these hamstring pulls coming in the players who have not been doing well from past few time. So they have that considerable anger built in them, that timidity, or that feeling that because I am at fault, I should not express my anger. So these hamstring pulls, they come as an injury in these players or athletes. So the same thing is noted in ammoniums. They have their emotions or ideas which they are not able to express due to their shortening character. They are coward. They have this feeling that they will never succeed. Like I have told you, that even the smallest of the things, they have these dreams, unsuccessful efforts to do various things. Although they are trying to do various things, but back of the mind, they have this thing that they will never succeed. This is a very strange feeling. When you look at them, they are doing their things, they are doing their business. But in the back of the mind, in their attitude, you will see a kind of resignation, a kind of discouragement, because they have this feeling that they are not going to succeed. So they are doing the thing just out of a kind of social pressure, or a kind of trying to avoid the more humiliation from the society that he is not doing anything. So they are doing those things, but not in a very what you say, in a very energetic way, in a very high spirits. Never. They are doing it just as out of routine, that they have to go to the shop, they have to go to the business. This particular patient which I was telling you about, the varicosity, he just keeps sitting at his shop. He goes 6 early, 6 in the morning, because the milk vendors, they come early, so he have to go early. But then after 5 or 6, he does not have any work at the shop, but he will keep sitting at the shop till 10 or 11 p.m. in the night. Why? Because he does not want to go to home. He does not want to face wife. He does not want to face his children. So he will keep sitting there alone, without any purpose, without doing anything. He will just keep reading the news or keep scrolling his mobile. So when you see these people, you will see that they are not doing much effort to succeed, because they have this feeling that they are not going to succeed. Dreams of difficulties. They have this dreams that I had a patient, a female patient earlier. So she said that whenever I sleep, most of the time, the dreams is that I am in a difficult situation. There is something happening in the home. There is something happening in the neighborhood. There is something happening in the family. And it is a very difficult situation, which I am trying to get out of, which I am trying to navigate. But I'm not getting successful in that thing. So there are the dreams. They basically tell us about very deep subconscious feelings which we have. That is why dreams have been given very much importance in prescriptions, and especially the dreams when they are repetitive, when they are coming again and again, or at least the kind of topic or the subject of the dream is the same. So these tell us about the basic feelings which we have been having in us, and they have gone to our subconscious level. Another rubric is spineless, in which ammonium carb is present. They have a spineless attitude. A person who is not able to support himself, who is not able to support others, answering reluctantly, again, shortening, like I told you, that they have this behavior where they will answer in very small things, or they are reluctant to answer when they come for the first time. It is, they will just speak in very few words, or there will be an attendant who will come with them, who will give the whole case, and they will be just sitting by their side, mute, only speaking in between if the information is incorrect. So in his mentality, he has this shortened tendency that everywhere he's falling short, everywhere he's falling short in the success, in the efforts, in the responsibilities, in taking care of the family, in his intellect. Hatred but can't take revenge. Even the persons whom he hates, he feels short in taking revenge. He does not have that courage to take the revenge. So these rubrics, they show the shortened tendency of the efforts of the ammoniums. So shortening also causes physical problems and discomfort. Not only on the mental part, but also on the physical part, we will see the shortening of the tendons, shortening of the muscles. We should start thinking about ammoniums if the patient complains about following problems. For example, if the person says, I cannot lie down with my straight legs, I have to keep a pillow under my knee for comfort, because they feel a stretch in their hamstrings, they feel a stretch in their back. I feel difficult to straighten my back. People for whom smiling is an effort, because when you have to smile like this, when you have to smile, you have to stretch the muscles. It is very difficult to stretch. They cannot stretch. Stretching is difficult because of that excessive elastic. People who say, I cannot sit on a chair or bed with limbs hanging down, I have to take them. The people who have to, take up their legs, sit cross-legged, hanging limbs aggravate. They feel a pain or stretch in the hip area or in the hamstring area or in the knee. I find it difficult to bend forward as if my muscles of back are holding me back. I must sit, I cannot stand for long. I stretch and yawn often because he feels tightness because of that shortening. So even in the physical part, the body reacts in the way the mind is reacting or the mind is feeling. Body is just a reaction, body is just an expression of the mind. All the symptoms which are coming in our physical part, they are just the expressions of our feelings, what we are feeling. So if the ammoniums are feeling short in these areas in his life, then the body's muscle, the body's tendons, they will also show the tendency of feeling short. Many authors, many doctors have written this thing that you will not see ammoniums smiling. Very serious people. Even in children, I've seen very few remedies which you see where the children are serious. Oromet, lycopodiums, ammoniums. They are the three remedies which come to mind when you see serious children, the children who don't smile or laugh. It's a very strange thing in children, because children, we know children that they express their emotions without any fear, without any this thing. But ammoniums or the adults, okay, in adults we can understand they have more control. But even the children, you will not find them smiling. Serious looking people, and they don't smile or jest. They don't even like jest. If someone around there is jesting and laughing and jovial, they don't like those people. They have straight face and answers to your inquiries bluntly. They won't share any moments when they felt good. Okay, so like I told you that the mind, the our this thing, when we are accumulating all those memories, all those moments where you have hurt, so all the good which you have felt or which you had, it is kind of lost, because the whole concentration of our mind is to remember all those things where the person has felt bad. So same is with ammonium. So because of that feeling that I have suffered a lot, there is nothing left about which he can smile, about which he can laugh, about which he can be happy. So you will see them to be very serious looking people. So during the smile, the forehead relaxes. Why ammoniums can't smile? Because the forehead muscles they relax, bringing your eyebrows up a little. The outer corners of your eyes begin to wrinkle as muscles push them together, and your lip corners are pulled up. So this stretching, this relaxation, because of that shortening everywhere, it is very difficult for the ammoniums to do that. They just cannot relax. They just cannot stretch, because even in smiling you have to stretch, and it is an effort for ammoniums. Whereas anger, the whole muscles they are shortened, they are clenched. So for that thing, the ammonium does not need to do much. So you will see that like this. The people who don't have this, if they, if you try to do like this, after some time you will feel this part paining. But the people who are angry, who are irritable, this thing comes automatically. It is not a pain for them. This clenching of the eyebrows, it comes automatically. These wrinkles, they come automatically. Because the mind is producing those kind of neurotransmitters to produce these things. So because of this, everywhere this shortening and this seriousness, the ammoniums, they can't smile. They don't tend to smile. They don't have anything inside about which they need to smile. Next thing is the water aggravation. Again, it is a very strange thing about ammoniums. We are made of water. Water is something on which the life thrives, on which we thrive. It is a basic thing of life. It is from where the life has come. The life before coming to land, it was all in water. So from water we have come out towards the land. So the life, the origins of life, we owe the origins of life to the water. So ammoniums have this tendency that they're kind of against that basic element of life, or that basic element is against them. Like, and this also shows in their mentality. They are not happy. Like, again, I just like I told you that laughing, being happy, these are the basic elements of life. But they cannot do it. They are against it. They can't be happy about anything. They can't jest, they can't joke, they cannot take a joke. It feels like an insult to them. So that basic spirit of the life, it is missing in ammoniums. And same is seen in the physical aspect, that the water aggravates them. They don't like to touch water or don't want to be in water, resulting in tendency of not taking baths and dirtiness. Because the water aggravates them, so they tend not to take baths. And because they don't take much baths, a kind of dirtiness in their attitude, in their physical body, it starts appearing. Wet application, these are the rubrics which are present. Wet applications aggravate, cold wet weather aggravate, washing head aggravates, discoloration, red spots after washing, fullness of veins of hand after washing in cold water, dry weather ameliorates, epistaxis after washing face, aversion to washing. So you can see many rubrics, many symptoms, even sadness in wet weather, pain general from wet damp weather. So you see many symptoms here in the generals and particulars where the patient gets aggravated from the water. dirtiness, want of elegance, untidy, filthy skin, bathing aggravates. So there is this basically an enmity with the basic element of life. And not over that he cannot, okay, water from outside he cannot take. Okay, this is the one thing. But even the water from inside, it is being released out. So this tendency of the body not accepting the water inside the body also leads to watery discharges. So he is not able to take water from outside, but his body is also releasing more water. Mucus secretions watery. Tendency for hemorrhage which is watery. This is a very big keynote symptom of ammonium carb. If you see in all the materia medicas, this is the first characteristic of hemorrhage, that it is offensive and watery. Watery hemorrhages. So the blood is not thick, it is very fluidy. Expectorations watery, nose discharge watery. Body starts rejecting water and it is thrown out of the body by various means. So that is the kind of reaction of ammoniums towards water, that they cannot take water, they cannot keep water inside, and then there is an intense release to intense need to release that water in the form of discharges, in the form of secretions, in the form of hemorrhage, and keep it out of the body. So we'll go with the resume of ammoniums in a short, but we can see in ammoniums. The thing is that they are sensitive to water, touch, cloudy weather, as we have done, to the thunderstorm, sensitive to stretching of the muscles. Yes, next thing is that they are very, there is an aversion to women. What I have seen is, especially in the family also, what I have seen in my few patients is, because of that woman's tendency to show anxiety, woman's tendency to keep telling the male member that this is not good, this is not good, this is, and the ammonium, they keep taking it as an insult. They're always taking it as an insult. If mother is telling him that you should do this, you should do this, you are not doing it, you are not doing it right, so they will have this kind of start feeling an aversion to the whole to all women, because they feel that they keep on nagging. This is their feeling, this is the ammonium's feeling, that they are too anxious and too nagging, and ammonium takes this as an insult. So that is why they have this, and not only women, to all the persons. If the father is like this, they will have this aversion to father also. If some brother or sister is like this, they will have aversion to them. So basically that aversion is coming from that, sensitivity to insults, sensitivity to mortifications. Then they're very sensitive to the shocks. Physical injuries, they can produce shock in them. Mental shocks, some kind of news, some kind of event that has happened. Okay, they can produce shock. Painful sensitiveness to noise. Then we have done this sensitive to anger, grief, mortification, humiliation, and loss of ambition to fame. Then the reactions are, they're sad, anger, and timid. So yes, the word is morose. You will see the patients to be morose, very like sitting irritably with a face like this, not talking, and this is the face which they have always. If they are in their business, if he is at a shop, if he is at a job, he will have this kind of face. The ammoniums who have job in companies, who go to a job, their co-workers, they don't like much to talk with them because of this pungent behavior. And ammonium is also okay with that. They don't want people close to them, because they know if someone comes close to them, they will somewhere down the lane, they will try to insult or humiliate or tell them about their shortcomings. Although it may be an advice by a co-worker that you can do this thing in a way, but it appears to ammonium as an insult. Shortened courage, spinelessness, cowardice, never smiling, never jesting, reserved attitude. So a misanthropic attitude where they don't like people around them, where they don't like society. A pungent behavior, a rude behavior, a kind of, you know, behavior which the people don't like going to. A person, they're very completely opposite of phosphorus or pulsatilas or argentum nitricums, who are very sulfurs, like who are very amiable, who are very friendly, who talk a lot, who laugh a lot. Completely opposite picture of those people. So in the clinic, think of ammonium when the people are quiet and do not talk much. People who have even euphorbia, the remedy euphorbia, it is same like this. But euphorbias are very industrious people. I have a patient of euphorbia who is getting better by it. When he came first to the clinic, the whole case was given by the wife. He didn't talk even a single word, and he was sitting like this on the sideline. By the side of the wife, he was sitting like this. He takes medicine regularly. He comes every month to take medicine with the wife. So it was not like that he didn't wanted the medicine, but he didn't wanted to talk. Even when he came in the cabin, he was sitting in front of me. Whenever I will ask him a question, he will not even reply with a okay, yes, no, nothing. He will just keep looking at me, and the wife will start replying. So this was a very strange thing. So first I thought about ammonium, but ammoniums are too timid not to answer when asked directly. They are too timid for that. But this person, he will keep looking in my towards me in my eye, and he will not answer it. So that requires courage. So he is basically choosing not to answer, but he has the courage to express that thing that I don't want to answer. Ammoniums, on the other side, they are timid. So they will answer with a short word, a short sentence, or at least with a sound, especially when they are sitting in front of a doctor. So this was a very strange thing for me. And the patient, he was very industrious person, very industrious. He will work a lot, but always this kind of seriousness. And I prescribed him euphorbia. He had this numbness in the body, and he was having this high blood sugar and weakness, and they all started getting better with the euphorbia. But the first thing which got better after euphorbia was that after 2 or 3 visits, like he started talking. He started telling about himself that no, this thing is better, this thing is not better. And after 3 or 4 visits, for the first time, I heard his voice. So Muriam is also one of them who are quiet and do not talk much, who have serious look on their face and do not smile or laugh much. People having frown on face, like I told you, their face is usually like this. People who appear to be sad and anger but are timid. So that appearance of moroseness, but inside there is very timid personality who just don't want to express outside. So the people who complain of difficulty in stretching any muscles, all these points, if they come, you can start thinking about ammoniums. This shortened sensation, short tendency, who hate head bath or who have problem after washing the face, washing the hands, washing the legs. People who can make verses. Okay, this is another part of ammonium which kind of comes out of his sensitivity. That they have this ability to make verses, make poems. Not very long ones, not very frequently, but yes, sometimes they write these things. But the subject of their writing will be more of anger, more of hate towards people, towards society, where they have felt insulted. So it is kind of an expression which is coming from his intellect. But the verses, they have that ability to make verses. But again, this thing will be told by the patient's attendants who have seen him writing. The patient does not tell this very frequently. So if a attendant is there who has come with them, they will tell that he also writes poems. But the poems are very sad, or filled with anger, or filled with hatred. And when to rule out ammoniums? When you just, even if the repertorial chart it is saying that person can be ammonium, or the symptoms which you have put in the repertory, they agree that the patient can be ammonium. But if those people, they laugh a lot or smile a lot, they are very lively and vivacious and loquacious, they are very physically flexible or mentally flexible, or are courageous or positive or less aggressive, less irritable, then we need to rule out the ammonium part, because this goes against the basic character of ammonium. Ammoniums, they cannot remain positive. They don't have a positive, like I told you, the basic element of the life, water, they're sensitive to that thing. So they're not basically positive about the spirit of life. They cannot remain positive for the spirit of life. And they cannot be made to become positive, like pulsatilla. Even if in grief, in sadness, you console pulsatilla, you tell them everything is good or everything will be going to good, the pulsatilla will come up with a smile, with lightness in the attitude, that okay, it will. So ammoniums, you cannot make them positive also, with moral support, with talks, with this thing, you cannot make them positive, because deep down inside they have this feeling that they have been insulted a lot, they have been humiliated a lot, because of their shortness, because of their behavior, because of their inability to succeed, inability to do small things which are needed in the life. But they have felt bad because of those people around them who have been continuously telling them that they are not good. Okay, so that positiveness, the thing has already gone out of the system of the ammonium. So this was a small talk about the ammonium group, that how to enter into the ammonium group. When you see these people, these kind of people, then you can start thinking about ammoniums, that he can be one of the ammoniums. Or if the ammonium is coming in the repertorial chart or in the symptoms, but if they are people who are laughing a lot, they are vivacious, then you need to throw out the ammonium. You should stop thinking about that this patient can be ammonium, and start thinking about some other remedies which are like that. Disposition is a very essential part of homeopathic prescription. We cannot ignore it at any point while prescribing, even in the acute diseases and especially in the chronic diseases. We cannot ignore that part. Okay. So, with this, I would thank you all for giving us an opportunity to share our experience, to share our whatever we know about some things with you. And we hope that these things, they help you in the clinic, they help you to cure your patients, and they help the patient's faith in homeopathy, it keeps growing. So with that, I thank you all for coming today in this session. Thank you so much.
Muito obrigado, Dr. Avtar, pela excelente aula, pela excelente explanação sobre o amônio. Amônio é um remédio pouco estudado, um remédio pouco prescrito, mas um remédio importante, com várias características, né? E hoje ficou bem claro, né, todas as características do amônio. A próxima aula será a diferenciação, as diferentes amônios, né? Que também eu acho que vai acrescentar muito, né? A diferença entre um amônio e outro. Então, aguardamos vocês, né, na nossa próxima Global Class, que será daqui 15 dias. E muito obrigado a todos.
Muito obrigado por mais essa excelente matéria médica sobre amônios, né? Foi muito esclarecedor essa disposição dos amônios, né? Uma medicação que existe pouca prática, né? Em livros, né? A Right Homeopathia, né? Com a experiência do Dr. Avtar e do Dr.Manroop nos trouxe esse rico ensinamento dessa matéria médica difícil e pouco estudada, pouco dada em várias matérias médicas de outros grandes mestres. Foi um prazer escutá-lo e aprender mais uma vez no Global Class com o Dr. Avtar e Dr. Manroop. Boa noite a todos e obrigado a todos os colegas e amigos da família da Right Homeopatia.